Hi. So, my name is Kelly. Today's date is February the 13th, 2025, and I'm 35 years old as of yesterday. I had my 35th birthday that I celebrated with friends and family, and then after having some additional phone calls with girlfriends today that took an interesting turn, I got the inspiration to do this video, and this is my this is my rape story, and I wanted to share it on YouTube because, well, I guess kind of in honor of the Me Too movement. It has been, over 10 years now since the last time I was raped, and yeah, I was listening to an audiobook called Woman's Bodies, Woman's Wisdom. And it talks about how before the age of 25, 1 in 4 women are raped by a domestic partner. And that's my story. And after the conversation and me talking about it, which I'm really open about with anyone who I talk to, that I think could benefit. This is the book, by the way, Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, by Christine Northrup, so a physician, and it's a really wonderful book, and I recommend it to every woman. So, the first time I was raped, I had recently turned 19. It was with a boyfriend. The situation was that he asked me if we could try anal sex. He had been asking for a while. I was raped in my home, in my own bed. My parents were away at work, and essentially the experience didn't feel good for me. It started out consensual. He was larger than me. I'm about a 125-pound female, and he was a 6'3" male. And I was face down on my stomach on my bed, and it didn't feel good. Like, the experience, I wasn't enjoying it. It didn't feel nice. He was way too rough, or way too hard. And then I was asking him to stop. I was telling him, I just needed it to slow down, stop, I need to readjust. And then he kept going, and I yelled louder. I started to feel like I was going to pass out. I started to feel like I was going to vomit. I started to cry, scream. Like, he was well aware, is the point I'm trying to make. And that was one of the things that for me was really important, was to be very vocal about how awful and uncomfortable I was, and how I didn't want that experience. And because I was in my home, on my own bed, with a person that, I had quite a few, I had lots and lots of great times with this man, amazing times. So I felt, fine to speak my truth about how it not being good. And then at that point in time, I crawled away from him. I got away, and then I got off the bed, and I remember feeling like I was going to pass out. 12:34, make a wish. I have a clock that I make a wish for. So I think my wish today, just as I interrupt the story, is going to be that many women understand that if you start sex consensually and it feels bad and you want it to end, and you have, identified with your partner, that, and I gotta say that, I'm gonna have to stop there. I am gonna have to do a rephrase on that. Women get raped and they don't feel safe to speak out to their partner, and it's still rape. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that it felt really important for me with this particular person and the individual and the circumstance I was in, that they knew they were raping me, and I knew they were raping me. And I wanted that very clearly to be understood between the two of us. So I got away from the man, got off the bed, and then I was looking at, like, what's wrong with you? I asked you to stop. I quoted some language, I think, from the what is it, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Like, I called him a rapist pig at some point. And he apologized, said he was sorry. I think he might have made something up about maybe not hearing me. And we had been together about a year by that time, and I was in love with him. We had a great, like, we had so many good experiences, so much fun. I was very physically attracted to him. And honestly, what I think that for me, it all came from a place of insecurity and, like, jealousy. I felt that his rationale for raping me was about dominance and possession of my body, and his own insecurities as a man. I had a girlfriend later in life who told me that she had heard through her husband, who was also my partner at the time. It was a good friend of his, that he had believed I was cheating on him, fooling around on him, and then that translated into the sexual abuse and oppression onto my body in our sexual relationship was through his security of this belief. And then after that had happened, there was I think the relationship kind of took a turn. He disrespected me in, like, one of the most horrific ways that a female can be disrespected. But based on where I was at in life and, like, our past experiences, I didn't leave him, and I didn't tell anyone about the experience. I just carried it with me. And the reason being is I knew that my friends, my family, everyone around me would be like, this guy is a loser, piece of shit, you need to leave him. And I eventually obviously did, but it wasn't for many years. I stayed with him for, many years later. We continued our relationship, and it was, again, a lot of fun. Like, me and this guy had such good times for where I was at in my life. And sorry, my cat, if you hear her, she's meowing like crazy. We had great times. And then he went away to school. And I also he left the country to go to school and study abroad, and I stayed in Canada. And then he would come back to visit his parents, myself. And when we had got together, I was a year older than him, and I was also his, like, main girlfriend. We were really just in each other's lives. He had not had the experience to be with other people, and I had always felt like that was going to come up in our life, where it's like, I had felt like I wanted to marry this person, that I wanted, this, like, awful one-off, like, where did it come from? Why? And simultaneously, like, for whom I was and whom he was, we were not the people where we were gonna be, like, each other's person, married with children, without exploring and experiencing life. Nevertheless, there was all the insecurity of abandonment, probably a disconnection, like all the patriarchal and chiarchal words that I can think of, like, possession, dominance, jealousy, ownership, power dynamic, where, you really want this other person to be yours and only yours. Simultaneously, you want to have your experiences and know that they are yours and yours alone. And I felt this energy coming up over and over again, where he wants to explore, I want to explore, and then there's this thing where there's this looming, overarching feeling of, frustration that the other person won't stay pure to you, just like garbage like that, right? And so I essentially felt like in the entirety of his and my relationship, he really wanted to have his cake and eat it too, and he had expectations over me and my femininity that just like were piss offs. Like, I'm a super flat chested woman. He would tell me he'd want me to get my tits done and really tried to push that on me, or like you know, stuff like take his last name so I could be his missus. Like, I am my own person. I have my last name and it's better than yours, so I'm not going to be changing it. And the babies come out of my body. My last name can go on the children as well as yours. But yeah, I made them. I did that work. So my last name will be there. Thank you. And I really like my last name. It's beautiful. Yeah. So then there was just a lot of traditional values he wanted. And again, I'm a very educated woman. I make my own money. I don't need to like subscribe to all of the old institutions and ideologies. So basically, what ends up happening is he's away at school, I'm in school, he comes back to Canada, and I know that he has been cheating on me, fooling around with other people. We've been sort of more disconnected. I've been very focused on my education. I was quite happy. I actually wanted to leave him because I was like succeeding so well down my career path and feeling so complete. And then what ends up happening is I'm pretty sure that there was a projection. He projected a lot of insecurities onto me when he came back, because when he visited me in my house, we were in the shower together, and then he raped me for the second time. It was much easier to get away. He ended up, we were standing, obviously it's wet, slippery, and same thing the sexual experience starts consensually. He's behind me. I'm telling him something doesn't feel right. I don't like, something's wrong. It doesn't feel good. Hey, can you stop? We need to change something. And then he keeps going. I yell it louder because this is the second time. And like, again, I don't need to put up with this. So then I'm like, hey, stop. Like, I'm screaming it at this point. He keeps going. It's very easy for me to get away because I can just drop to my knees. I get out of the shower. Same thing. I'm like, you rapist pig. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he apologizes. I think I yell at him to get out of the house. He leaves. He comes back later. And then for a time we can continue our relationship, I think for a year, ish, on off. And it's like really bad and disjointed. We're trying to figure things out. He pulls out, all the stops when, like, gives me flowers, and it just is not working. And simultaneously, like, there are good things about his character too. Like, he's married now. From the sounds of it, he's not in a very good marriage. I have a girlfriend who has told me at large about those dynamics, but nevertheless, it sort of fits the picture of this individual and my experience with them. So to sum it up, the first time I was raped, I was 19, and then the second time I was raped, I was 24. The duration of those experiences probably was around 2 minutes, maybe like 2 minutes total. Yeah, the first time, like more horrific, longer, quite painful. The second time I was able to get away, like fairly quickly. I got to process personally about why it had occurred, which was really important to me. I had felt empowered like throughout. I'm one of the most empowered females I think that I know in a lot of ways, like economically, linguistically, in community, sexually. I have always felt like I'm in a good position in my life. But that's not everyone's story. And what I want to say is there's a lot of times, I've had sexual experiences where I didn't feel safe to like end it, and I did really want to, but it didn't necessarily make it to the sensation that I'm being raped. I know that's very odd to say, and that might be a trauma thing for me, and I likely am going to disable the comments on this. I don't really want a bunch of people reaching out or making statements and blah blah blah, and I've hopefully at a later time I will edit this, make it into a clearer video, more concise. However, I felt the need today to make the video because it's the day after my 35th birthday, and I wanted to put something into the world that I think will could assist femininity and maybe and hopefully masculinity too. I have in my life experience, so like I've been a serial monogamous of like a 7-year relationship, a 4-year relationship, to a 7-year relationship, to a 5-year relationship, to 5 years of polyamory where I have multiple partners. I have had, really long and strong closed containers, and then also lived a very free experience where I got to participate in loving multiple people at the same time, which felt very good. And honestly, I wish it was possible. It seems like it's not possible often on the masculine end of things. I feel like men are not good at sharing, and women can share love quite easily, but and talk and communicate in healthy ways. But I feel like men have that old what is it that I feel like in society men feel like love is a limited commodity and that the resource needs to be contained, and I find that women are able to communicate with one another and share, and say that we can love multiple people at the same time. Right now I'm in a closed relationship with one person because that is what society seems to value the most, and that feels the easiest. And me and my partner, we both want safety. We don't want to have to deal with everyone else's drama, their potential diseases, and whatever they might not be telling. For polyamory to work, you really need everybody on the same page. You really, and you need balance. And so it doesn't work if you don't have everyone working towards balance and security and safety. And you need to be a good communicator. And it can be very challenging, and I don't find society supports it yet in the way that I wish they would. And so that's my story. Stop doing that. No. That is my story. Yeah, I hope to in time make a better video. I think I just want to leave women with the idea that what can start out consensually can become non-consensual quite quickly. And for me, I believe it was because the sensation in that experience with me and my partner had turned to something like hate, like I can't say the F word because this is going to be a YouTube, but yeah, like hate banging, like that, like that's what I think he was doing. And so trigger warning. Guess I gotta post that at the start of this video. Thanks so much for listening. And I wish the most to every female out there. My heart goes out to anyone who feels alone, who's not ready to share their experience with their friends and their family. They're not ready to let go of something that they feel they want to keep trying. Like I said, the experiences were really intermittent. Like they were super far between one another. Like there was a 5-year gap at least between the first time I was raped and to the second time. And we had lots of good days. I gotta say, my sexual experience with that person, was pretty mediocre, to be quite honest. Overall, like we were having sex, but did I like have good sex? I didn't know good sex until I was in my 30s. Good sex is a real thing where like it's excellent, but yeah, not with that guy. He did not know good sex, and maybe he's figured his shit out and he actually can please women. But for the most part, it was not the best for me. And I got to have that experience later on where it was really, really wonderful. And just trust yourself. If a man is not treating you in the way that you want to be treated, then my experience really is overall, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. In all the partners and boyfriends and men that I've been with, from the spiritual gurus to the shy engineers, to the pilots, and you know, the hardworking carpenter, and my current partner, they all very much were what they appeared to be. I would say I never got married. I'm not married. I don't have children. It was always really a big deal for me to wait and to like feel things out for like a year. Different containers of relationships, from dating to a closed container, changed the